This new lawsuit will it help anybody other than people driving cars and trucks?
Yeah, anybody that lives in a mobile home that pays the license fees to the state owner will not have to pay those anymore.
Wow.
This takes care of everything DMV covers.
So this lawsuit you got here, that you got to blow up, this is going to cover mobile homes.
Well, yeah, it has a DMV tax on the mobile home.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Well,
I haven't lived in a mobile home for 40 years.
My mobile home has a DMV tax on it, and it'll stay on it. But the newer ones, they've converted it over to a regular property tax, like a house sitting on a lot.
Ah.
But it was a derivative from the trailer park thing, when they come out with the double wide mobile homes. But the very first of them, they were all considered trailers, and they had to have a license and pay license fees and that kind of thing. But they found out they could collect more tax if they switched them over to a regular property tax.
Whatever gets the most. It's all about the money, isn't it,
It's all
Charlie?
the most about the money.
It's all about the money. Yeah, I have just seen incredible greed by our government. I think the only thing to do is to get your guns out and say no.
Say no first. Leave the guns home until it's a necessity.
To the last minute, huh?
I've been working for 30 years against that.
Yeah, I am too, and I really want a peaceful solution. Maybe what we should do is send all the government bureaucrats to be a dog in this lady's house and have her sit on you. Now, this is the lady. I'm not sure if it's Commissioner Colleen Stern or not, because I can't see her face, but she was looking for a dog, and look where she was sitting down and couldn't find the dog. Posting notices, looking for her dog.
And you know the sad thing about it, the dog couldn't hear her calling.
He probably wanted to hear her voice anywhere but where he's stuck. That's sort of like the taxpayers and the government sitting on you all the time. I think a lot of taxpayers feel that way. Certainly, you see people go into court and they don't realize that courtroom belongs to them. The courthouse belongs to the people.
That's right. And that court is your court.
It's not the judge's court, even if he says it is.
He says it's his court, and he sat up there and lies.
Oh, which brings me to Julie Witherspoon, people. On the internet, I'm going to have, within a week or two, a 2-hour episode on Julie Witherspoon. Some of you saw on my show briefly. She was found not guilty this week in Judge William Lamb's, a special judge pulled in from retirement. The jury of 12 found her not guilty of obstructing the Lamoureux, Orange County Justice Center bailiffs and sheriffs. They charged her with obstruction and disturbing or whatever. The jury came back on both counts, all the counts, said, no, Guess what Julie's doing? She's got an attorney. She's suing them in federal court.
Fantastic.
She's going to rack them up. And they brought these charges, Charlie, just to shut her up. Just so they could go into federal court and say, she was found not guilty. Ha, ha, ha. The jury looked at it and said, she's not guilty. You guys started it. You cops started the problem. So that's just a little, we got a little clip of Julie's Witherspoon. But Julie's real issues go much deeper. She's a wounded Iraq veteran, had her teeth, her jaw smashed out. She's got a little brain damage, and yet she re-upped, Charlie. And these cops and this crooked scumbag Tony Rakalkas, elected DA of Orange County, they wanted to put 2 misdemeanors on her.
Scumbags. Scumbags, that's all I can say.
Yeah, scumbags. And she appeared in her uniform with all her medals, her Iraq service medals and everything. And the jury just didn't find her guilty. So I had to throw that in. Let those of you that were wondering, yeah, Julie Witherspoon has been found not guilty, and now she's going to get her kids back, sue these people that had done terrible things, kidnapped her kids out of Germany, brought them back here, and let CPS auction them off. Because her ex-husband didn't want to pay child support.
They're blonde and blue-eyed, huh?
Yep. Beautiful little boy, about 12, little girl, about 13. Well, Charlie, I'm happy about your new lawsuit. May all of California pick up on this.
Just remember, anybody that wants to see more about it or get in on it, give me a call.
You know what? I think I'll open a page on my website, OnSecondThought.tv, for this. I think this is really valuable.
You got a copy of it. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I'm going to open up a web page so you can go to OnSecondThought.tv and see it. Now, I don't talk much about Reason Magazine. It's sort of the conservative, it's sort of the written word of the mind of William F. Buckley. It's in that vein, William F. Buckley vein. You remember William F. Buckley?
Sure do.
He was the decent conservative. Before we got these fascists like Bush and Clinton in the White House, we had decent conservatives. And I did this interview, and we're going to go to that. This was a fundraising event, and a big radio talk show host at the time, this was a couple of years back, Larry Elder is the main speaker. We'll go to that. We'll be back in 5 minutes with Charlie Sprinkle.
An effort to give jobs to others and to hopefully support their own family. So every night at the dinner table, Larry heard the discussions of how minimum wage increases, how governmental interference was impacting the bottom line of his parents' businesses. And to him, this wasn't an academic discussion. To him, this was his mom and father's home restaurant. To him, it was his survival. And so he realized right away that the message of working hard and earning a living could be subverted by a government that was too hyperactive in its vigilance. And so he picked up that message and he carries it on the air if you've listened to him today. But his message from his father and mother was even clearer, that the sky's the limit, that there's no limit on opportunity, and that the world really is not black and white. And Larry grew up in a world in which many of his neighbors saw the world in terms of race, but his parents never did. His parents presented the world to Larry as a kaleidoscope that was bursting forth in terms of opportunities. And that's what you hear when you listen to Larry Elder, when you listen to him on his radio show. Larry, we respect who you are. We respect your mother, who is known as the Chief Justice. And if you haven't heard him talk with his mother on Friday talk show, I challenge you to listen to that dialogue, because it says it all. Anyone who respects his mother as he does, anyone who gets over 1,000 emails a day, 1,000 a day, 99% of them positive, well, you gotta believe that people love his directness, they love his values, they love his commitment to educating people to the importance of the issues that face us here in this great nation of ours. Larry has dedicated himself to being a purveyor of that message, a message which many of you, I think, in this room tonight share. And we want to keep his energies high, so I want all of you to dedicate yourself in the months ahead to really gifting Larry with what he likes best. And I'm going to tell you what that is. It's sunflower seeds and it's beef jerky. So I'm hoping that as you see Larry driving around town in his black T-Bird, that you realize that even Larry Elder can be persuaded by the commercialism of our society. But Larry Elder is indeed a messenger for all of us. It's my pleasure to introduce Larry Elder.
Thank you. Are you here okay? Everybody all right? Appreciate the introduction. Manny Klossner asked me to make sure that I said nothing that was unnecessarily divisive, offensive, or profane. So this concludes my prepared remarks. I've often been asked how I got into the talk radio business, and I must tell you it was quite by accident. I was at the time working in Cleveland, and I was running a small business, and I was writing op-ed pieces for a local newspaper, and every now and then they'd get published. And I wrote something about a limited government, maximum personal freedom responsibility. I wrote about my opposition to government-imposed anti-discrimination laws, that racism no longer was the #1 problem facing this country, facing the black community. So I get a phone call from a programming director of a local talk station, and he said, "I read your article, and I'd like you to come on and discuss it with my host." I must tell you, I never listened to talk radio.